Yes, now we may start our discussion, or simply I am to tell about my attempts in what I am doing here, preparing materials which I want that they work something for the victory of Ukraine, to help for Ukraine in the victory. Everybody can do what he can and what he can have learned and what he has, which resources he has at his disposal. Now I'm trying to organize discussions with artificial intelligence tools, LLMs, and different, and also some videos I now try to prepare using some tools like this, what you see. For example, this video, Political Chemistry for Total Ukrainian Victory. Well, and to demonstrate what I'm doing, you may listen to this, and yes, my video starts to speak. Well, speak, please speak.
That don't involve Russia's full military defeat and withdrawal from all Ukrainian territory, period.
Now, the source makes a really interesting, maybe even a bit cynical observation about, like, a person's status or position and their color in this system.
Yes, it notes what the author calls a sad tendency. The observation is basically, the lower the status, the more courage, and conversely, the higher the position, the more slippery maneuvering.
Wow. So lower status, more courage, higher position, more maneuvering.
That's the suggestion from this perspective. It implies that individuals, maybe in lower status roles or more marginal positions, often hold the clearer, more radical stance that the author thinks is needed for victory in wartime. While those in higher, more traditionally responsible positions, well, they tend towards ambiguity or silence or justifications that land them in the red or gray zones in this classification.
That's a really provocative thought, that the people we might expect to lead with conviction could actually be classified differently by this framework than those maybe speaking from outside the direct halls of power.
It points to what the source characterizes as a kind of moral inversion syndrome, potentially at play in certain power structures during this conflict.
Okay, so moving beyond those initial examples, how does this framework classify other current...
Now we may, this was my last video, Political Chemistry. Before that, I had this. I shall show this. This is in Ukrainian, in language. It is in Ukrainian, and let us hear a bit in Ukrainian language, Ukrainska.
Вітаємо! Сьогодні ми заглиблюємось у матеріали Дайніса Зепса. Він фізик за освітою, і його тексти, що ми розглядаємо, охоплюють період, десь з 2017. Це, досить радикальний погляд на російську правову і політичну культуру. А як це пов'язано з пропагандою?
Своїми солдатами, поки гинуть українці. І, звісно, політичні чвари, параліч у США щодо допомоги Україні.
Що він там бачить на виході?
Саме так. Він аналізує ці виходи. Непослідовна допомога Україні, блокування рішень, лідери. Він критикує Байдена як нечіткого, слабкого, Трампа як соціально небезпечного, морально нігілістичного, навіть натякає на можливі зв'язки з Росією.
І партійна ворожнеча.
Так, він називає партії гніздами ненависті і робить висновок. Система США фундаментально нестабільна. деформована. Він використовує фразу «симуляція здорової демократії». Вона, на його думку,
Well, and next is this, and here this is titled, where we don't see title of the the dialogue on the
Imagine a photo. You've got two policemen just looking away, totally indifferent.
Precisely. He sees it as intentional, a systematic way to destroy the very idea of justice and the judiciary in the country. He applies it immediately. Russia, he said, actually dangerous, morally nihilistic, mentioning alleged Russian ties and scandals.
Wow. Yeah. He really doesn't hold back on either of them.
Not at all. And he doesn't just focus on the leaders. He looks at the parties, Democrats and Republicans, as outputs too. He sees them just fighting each other, turning into nests of hatred, he says, instead of finding solutions. And he points to the massive influence of money in elections as another problematic output.
So based on all the 8 issues, the leaders, the parties, the money, what's the diagnosis of the U.S. system?
His conclusion is that the system is fundamentally unstable, deformed. He calls it a simulation of a healthy democracy, one that can't adapt to crises and seems only capable of producing, well, Trumps and Bidens. And crucially, he doesn't pin the blame on just Trump or Biden as individuals. He blames the system itself. He faults the Democrats, for instance, for the aid blockage. You send us your sources, in his view, contributing to Biden's perceived we dig into them. He faults Republicans for using someone he describes as focusing mentally ill proposed talks in Istanbul. Ukraine, Russia. You know the ones. You want the real story, fast, without getting lost in all the noise.
Exactly. And we've got quite the mix from you, articles looking closely at Istanbul, some sharp, layered.
A very calculated playbook, it seems.
Yeah.
Now, let's shift slightly. One source asked if this is totally unprecedented, bringing up Kozar.
The AI worried about normalizing these ties between potentially corrupt states and populist figures in the West, undermining institutions.
And the AI called for scrutiny, investigations.
It did, underscoring the need for transparency when things like this happen. It definitely raises serious ethical flags.
Huge flags. Okay, let's circle back to Istanbul. We talked about theater, but one source really leaned into that, calling it basically a farce. A Kremlin game.
Yeah, that commentary didn't pull any punches, and AI analysis sort of ran with that metaphor.
How so?
Describing the Russian delegation almost like they're wearing carnival masks, and suggesting the West might be complicit, just playing along in this show.
And it mentioned an ontological problem. What's that?
That was from the fake off commentary. The idea that Putin fundamentally doesn't see himself as a...
About this one question, and And now here we may hear what we have there.
Outcome this time, compared to the lead up to World War II.
Can information and AI actually, save the world from this kind of evil?
That's the hope being explored. And the document defines evil for both periods.
How so?
For 1937, it's identified as aggression against neighbors, atrocities against Jewish people. For 2025, it's the aggression in Ukraine, but also citing earlier actions in Moldova and Georgia.
And it highlights the current overload of anti-information propaganda of Russia.
Right, but also notes the significant global support for Ukraine, which is maybe a key difference.
That naturally brings up information suppression. The document touches on the old Soviet methods like jamming Radio Voice of America.
Yeah, historical context. And then contrasts it with modern Russian methods, still aimed at control, but way more sophisticated. State media dominance, police repression, blocking independent sites, encouraging denunciations, electronic surveillance.
The whole digital toolkit.
Pretty much. And the author points out this principle, spending millions to...
And this first, it was seminar. We had seminar in Riga. So you see here in Latvia.
Jo raksti kļūst aizvien garāki, raksti varbūt tehniski sarežģīti, kur mums ir grūti orientēties, tāpēc mēs varam iedot tos palasīt mākslīgam intelektam. Raksti varbūt ļoti gari, kur mēs tie tehniski vairs nevaram izlasīt. Un tagad mēs uzreiz, man jāiet uz priekšu straujāk, es nevaru tā... Tad uzreiz tas jautājums ir, kurš tad ir tas gudrākais un kam ir tas grūtākais uzdevums. Tam Un otrs ir, teiksim, kāds universitātes profesors, kas grib izlasīt tekstus kaut kādās valodās, grieķu, ebreju, latīņu. Tas ir no citas kādas publikācijas, tas izvēlējums, tas skatījums, kas tie, no kurienes tas ir. Nu, ir tad pirmie 5 - Vernackis, Leibniz, Dekarts, Sigers un Ksenofons. Nu, tur katrs Vernackis to saistā ar nosfēras ideju, jo viņam ir amount of information might be crucial in this situation. Nu jā, tas arī information for us. So, and now I go forward. And what is in these books? Some soldiers might find that they don't know even what on title of the book is written. Maybe some of them may understand something Biblia Hebraica, maybe it's something associations comes in his head. Maybe some might something have some knowledge, little small knowledge, more or less in these books. But what we could expect, of course, we know that this Russian army is recruited from the regions of Russia, where are the lowest conditions to receive good education, very little, very low level discussion with media about this case. But be good for to save it
all these
at the beginning by and then
how to make information war or counter war to, for example, Russian propaganda. So they are trying all the way how to change the truth to some aspects that so that they looks good and other world looks bad, but we have to counteract all this with our propaganda.
And I may show this remark.
Okay, maybe.
And now understand something they don't understand. And so look here, my afterwards they should be all be under this political pressure to clear these truths. To wash out this Russia propaganda from their brains, from their heads. And this should come. This is obligatory. Should come. We don't think that they could run away from this. They should all be go through this brainwashing campaign afterwards. And now, but now let imagine what is this idea. My idea after this, to force these soldiers to learn, to hear, learn from books. So, they were videos. And here we may look other type of information, and this is our scientific and religion, our groups, prints, and here, of course, science and religion should be, but now when war is going on, we may speak about not only about about science and religions, we may speak about things connected with war too, because war is going on. And for example, here is question planetary education. And this question about planetary education, this is not so simple. What we first is what we should qualify as planetary education, what this should be. And now when war is going on, the very important thing is to discuss this question, planetary education, and classify it more closely to these problems of whole civilization, not only for country, not only for scientific direction, not only for university or some other unity in society, personalities and so on, but how it connects for whole civilization. And these civilization questions in the time of war, these are very, very important, and how we should conversations provide and make and do in wartime. Yes. And now this question is discussed, but with machines, LLM machines, and my context is this war in Ukraine, victory of Ukraine, and information against evil. And from this point of view, I am looking at all these things. I'm not interested in some other, might be some other way how to look at these things. I'm looking from this point. And now, this here refers to my article, GPT from inside. What we may do using GPT, mathematicians look my personal look. With this, I started in year 2023, and afterwards are used this experience to work in this informational war. And here article, for example, in this reprints, what can save NATO? Stand with Ukraine, stand for Ukraine. And afterwards, my article, intellect is our own intellect. And now I discuss my understanding what is AI and how we should treat AI, what it should be for us, how we should use it, and in this situation of war, how we should use AI to struggle as information against evil. And information against evil, you see article. And one such project, what was done in frames of all this, what I call war against evil, it was, and it goes on now, a peace conference project. And you see this title, AI Machines and the War. A peace conference project. No, very daring title. I am advocating for to use information against evil and so on. And in the frames of this project, we organized and established Peace Conference Project Journal. This Peace Conference Project Journal is accessible in internet, and here are articles we are adding, but these articles are connected with this Peace Conference project. And everyone can send his article to put it there everyone can do, try to do. Maybe some problems, technical, maybe how to deposit, but with institutional resources, these which have in universities this tool and using in universities as institutional tools, they have ability to use this tool and deposit their articles and their support with ideas our project. Or if not, simply may send by emails, may send their proposals, and we may deposit in place of these which have sent us something. Well, this is Zenodo, is using Zenodo, this journal, and ResearchGate. I had to, but it's not much of use, ResearchGate. But I am using better tool, might be Wikstra, and Instant Wikstra has now opportunity, not simply Wikstra, but AI Wikstra. AI Wikstra gives opportunity to publish, deposit articles which are prepared with help of AI, with tools different. So everybody may try to use, and I'm using here are for my articles deposited on Ukrainian subject and about this war, informational war against evil. And so this opportunity. And one more thing possible, this is, but not this, I was talking about peace conference. And in frames of peace conference, we have two tools, main tools, which are based for this whole peace conference. One is the peace conference journal in Zenodo, and second is database in Figshare is here. In Figshare, here are these collections. One collection is simple, similar something to Zenodo, then school, and participant. Here are participant data, and you may look how much people, what was respondents of our project, of our idea. Only for participants we have in this conference, but no, this 4 participants for a conference, it might be said that it is very, very narrow conference, but I don't think so. People who have dared to send us and to try to part in it, these are the main persons who should be thanked and decorated with decorations after war. They are these who have tried to struggle against evil. So what I have told, maybe for the first time, it might be. So you look, we have this video. We have different publications, and we have where I wanted to show, I didn't. Look. Let us look here. Stats. Yes, here stats. And here here. Let me show. Let me show. Yes, these are. Yeah, and here are many, many discussions. I have done many discussions with LLMs about Ukraine war. For example, let us see. Yes, here. Yeah, look. Yeah, here is war, Ukraine war against Russia with GPT 4.0. And this here is whole conversation, and such conversations I have done with different LLMs, and they are deposited in different resources. And so this is my war against evil. This is my war against evil. So, well, so the main things I have said so. Well, yes, now we may, then for today, for the physics from mathematics and biblical, but my idea was not to simply, it's a very simple books, but now we may return from these books which was suggested by me. Look, this math and physics book was very complicated and very high level of scientific level. People, I tried to explain how, can I, no, well, thank you for hearing this first. So let it be enough for the first, and goodbye. For the victory of Ukraine. Slava Ukraini! Slava Ukraini!